Hey, I'm Kelly Hogan, and welcome back to my Zero Carb Life. So, I was at Meat Stock recently, and I was in the hallway just visiting, hanging out with people. If any of you saw me there and you came over and we hugged it out or talked it out or selfied it out, just comment below. I'd love to just say, hey, it's me. I was there. That'd be awesome. So, while I was in the hallway, this lovely couple comes over and we're kind of standing in line around where Bella, steak and butter gal, I think I asked, so why'd you start carnivore? That's a pretty common question I ask. And their answer blew me away to the point that within 10 minutes I said, please come tell that story on my channel because people need to hear it. Now, what you're about to hear is really important to me because the members in my family, especially the women in my family, traditionally live very, very long lives and are physically well. And most of them have no recollection of the last years of their life. That is one reason that I very much try to look after my brain and I want to eat this way and avoid insulin resistance. So when I heard this story, you're going to understand why I said, please come on the channel. So let's welcome Dean and Jodie. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
In case you haven't figured out, I'm Dean and this is Jodie. So
It's so good to
all
see y'all again. So we were in person just a few days ago. Tell them what you told me.
I sent you some photographs that you might be able to use. When Jodie and I got married in 1990, we were fairly thin people. And I was around 185. I'm 6'1", and Jodie's almost 6 feet tall. And she was, I guess, at that time about 155, something like that. And then life happened. And I got a job as a school teacher, and she was a nurse. And we just fast food, standard American diet, little by little, the pounds come on.
Yeah.
Until about 2014, and we were pretty hefty folks. Then Jodie decided to go back to school and become a nurse practitioner, and she went to Vanderbilt, did a 2-year program in 1 year, highest honors, and got a job. And then it just really got bad as far as our lifestyle.
Oh.
What happened as a cardiology nurse practitioner, she would go to work at 6 in the morning, get off at 7 at night. We would grab some type of fast food. Then she would do medical charts at night. I would grade papers. I'm a school teacher. I'd grade papers, prepare for the next day, and we would go to bed maybe about 1 in the morning, get up at 5, rinse and repeat. The winter of 2022,
Yes.
Jodie started having issues, and I didn't know what it was. She was really afraid to drive, and she was having a lot of trouble at work that I didn't know about. Jodie, tell her what was going on at work with you.
New computer system. It took forever for me to learn how to use it. And then one day I get this message that says, you've got a Zoom call at 2 o'clock. And I think it was the day after my birthday. I was turning 58. And I thought a Zoom call, I've never done a Zoom call before. So the practice manager of the cardiology office gets on the Zoom call and he says, I've got 2 weeks to clean up your computer. And by the way, you're fired.
Oh, Jodie.
I was like, yeah, I was pretty devastated because I never had anything like that.
Remember what he said about you, though?
He said I wasn't safe.
Not safe to practice medicine. And we didn't know what was wrong. I mean, I knew
Yeah.
Jodie was struggling with charting and she was getting slow and she just wasn't able to get things done. But other than her not being able to drive well, she thought cars would be in our lane, or she would think cars were too close to us. She really didn't show exhibit anything at the house, what was going on. And so Jodie decided to get a whole bunch of blood work done for free while she was still an employee. It was free.
Yeah.
And so just as a fluke, so she did. And we didn't think anything else about it. And so Jodie went into a depression. She just lost her job and then what do I do now? I'm still teaching school, and this was in March of 2023. June of 2023, her primary doctor, called her in. She's a wonderful doctor. Said there's some blood lab work problems. You need to come in.
I did some spinal taps and brain scans,
MRI
stuff, MRIs, things like this.
They said
Yeah.
we're going to send you to Alzheimer's clinic, and I'm thinking, why? She doesn't have that. And so she went there and they said, yeah, you do. So they gave her a MOCA score and a MOCA test. That's where you draw the clock, you try to memorize words. It's basically to see how your memory is, your cognitive reasoning, that sort of thing. And I saw a picture of the clock and it was not good. And I was thinking it's just a circle of numbers and big hand, little hand, and it was really wonky. And I was like, oh no. And then they confirmed it, said that they showed an MRI and her brain had shrunk. Her frontal cortex was smaller than it should be. And so that just kind of pushes off the ledge. So I don't know anything about Alzheimer's. I've never met anybody with dementia or Alzheimer's. I don't know anything about it. So I did what every American does. I went to Google and I started Googling it and I was devastated. And Google, you can go simply Google, tell me about Alzheimer's. It says there's no cure. It's fatal. There's no treatment. It's just the only question is how long is it going to take you to get where this is going to end up in a terminal illness? And Jodie's 58 years old.
We were just devastated.
And we're devastated. And this is December of 2023. And so we're looking, what do we do? And well, the place we went to, the clinic, they said basically stop eating sugar and exercise, and that's it. That was their treatment.
Well, you know what? I've heard worse advice, to be honest.
Yeah.
The fact that they even mention the sugar is kind of remarkable. I mean, I'm sure you didn't leave there going, okay, well, that'll fix it. But
no, we
were kind of disappointed there wasn't more information, but as we've traveled down the road here, we know that there's not a lot of good treatments for it.
Right.
There's a lot of side effects from treatments. They gave me an oral medication that made me throw up every day.
I started watching videos on people who had Alzheimer's, and every one of them was just worse than the one before. She started getting worse and worse rapidly. She slept 14, 15 hours a day. It's like she was a cat. She was asleep all the time. And then when she was up, she was doing all sorts of crazy things. She would sit there and she would try to cook something, turn the gas stove off and walk off and burn the pot and the food, or turn the gas on and not even light the stove, or walk out the front door and leave it open. Go to the freezer, pull food out and just leave it out, leave the freezer wide open. I've got all sorts of wonky clothes where she poured bleach on colored shirts and things. And it was just all sorts of things she was doing. And she was getting she was going off the deep end very fast. Now her MOCA score at this time was a 14, and anything below 10 is considered severe. When you get to severe, you can't use the bathroom by yourself, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Jodie was a 14 at this point. So she was going down fast.
Yeah.
And I talked to Jodie when we did our prayer time today. I asked Jodie, I said, do you remember that time? Do you want to share with her what you remember?
I just remember it felt like I was in the dark all the time. Like my brain was so clouded. I didn't have any positive thoughts at all. And I slept a lot and I was afraid. It was like being in a dark room.
Oh.
And I called it the darkness.
Yeah.
It was just overwhelming. I didn't know what was going on most of the time. Had no idea.
And the reason I wanted Jodie to talk about this, I keep thinking of Lazarus. What do you think all the people that talked to him after he was raised from the dead, what they want to know? What was it like? What did you see?
Yeah.
How many people come back from this? When Jodie was that far? Not many. So that's why I say people want to know, what was it like when you were there? And I don't know how long you've been married, Kelly, but we've been married 36 years. And when, as Bible says, the two become one, you can finish each other's thoughts. I can simply hear the tone of her voice and know what she's thinking. I can look in her eyes and you can tell. And the thing that was most heartbreaking for me, I would look at her face and I couldn't read her thoughts anymore. I couldn't measure what was going on in her. I couldn't understand. And there was a break. And I guess I don't keep using the biblical analogies, but it's the one that comes to my mind is when Jesus was on the cross saying, my God, why have you forsaken me? There was a break of some type there. And that's what it felt like for me. We had come apart. And it was breaking to me to see I was losing my wife and she was disappearing before my eyes. And so we did something, or I did something at that point, and I had been watching a lot of videos of individuals. One that really got me, it was a couple from New York named Daily, and 60 Minutes went to their house. I don't think it was 2008. And every year they went back and they followed this woman, and she had Alzheimer's. And every year they went back and she was worse and worse and worse. By year 10, she was completely couldn't communicate, couldn't speak.
Mm.
And she was in a diaper, and I just recently, I looked it up. She died in 2023, and I'm thinking that's our future. And after watching these videos, which I could not show Jodie, I could not show her what I was seeing. And so I went back to our laundry room, and I back there, and I just cried. I wept like I've never wept before. And I don't know where this prayer came from, but it came into my mind to pray the Hezekiah prayer. And Hezekiah was a king in the Old Testament who had been told, you're going to die.
Mm.
And he prayed to God, give me 15 years. And God heard his prayer and gave him another 15 years. So I prayed that prayer for Jodie. Lord, just give me 15 good years, Jodie. That's all I'm asking, 15 years. And I didn't know if he heard my prayer. I didn't know, but it kept coming to mind. I kept praying it. So from that point on, every morning I put my hand on her while we're still in bed and pray that prayer over her. And then I came across a person called Mary Newport, and that was an eye opener for me. She's on TED Talks. She's all over the place. Her husband had Alzheimer's, and she is a neonatologist. Is that right, Jodie?
Yep.
Okay. And she had a husband had Alzheimer's, and what she did, she used to give something called MCT oil, CHC10, to premature babies, and it would help grow their brains.
Uh-huh.
She's saying, what if I give that to my husband? What would happen? And where it showed, he had a picture of clocks and there was random circles. She gave it to him, and within a few days, he could draw a clock again. And she said, there's something about coconut oil and something about MCT oil. So she started giving it to her. Her husband improved, radically improved. So much so he could go back to doing volunteer work at a hospital. They did very well. And as it turned out, she thought that was the main thing. However, I recently learned she kept feeding them sugar. And she kept feeding them other things. So she improved them, but she hadn't yet drawn the connections between the other things.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, Jodie, first big change. We're getting her on MCT oil, and we're going to get her off the sugar. And so that was the first change we did. And little by little, we started making all these changes. The next thing I did, I started watching all these videos. I'm on a deep learning curve. I found a video on fluoride, and I found out just how bad it is. They just recently won a court case in Georgia.
Yeah.
It lowers children's IQ by drinking tap water because it has fluoride in it. And if you look at toothpaste, it says, do not swallow, called poison control if you swallow it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to be kidding. And so the next thing I did, well, I bought 2 water distillers. So we got Jodie on clean water. And then the next thing I came across was Dr. Mary Newport, and she was talking about MCT oils, but she thinks Alzheimer's is type 3 diabetes. Have you ever heard of that term?
Yes, absolutely.
I didn't know what that was. I'm type 2 diabetic, or at least I used to be. Now I've lost all the weight. I'm not, but I used to be diabetic, but I know what that is. Okay. Diabetic. Well, that's you can't have sugar. I had no idea that bread is glucose, that fructose is glucose, that lactose is glucose. I mean, potatoes, I had no clue about any of this stuff. So we found a woman, she's called the glucose goddess. She's French. And she talks about all the different ways you could put glucose in your body. And she talks about fruit that we have today, like a grape, which looks like a golf ball. She says these are all hybrid fruits. They're not natural, and they are absolutely toxic to the human body. And I'm thinking, wow. So I've got a choice to make. If I want to get Jodie and get her into something called ketosis, to get ketones into her brain, I'm thinking I got to get her away from any type of sugar. So that means I'm thinking I'm going to reject the Mediterranean diet and go to the ketogenic diet because, and once again, I don't know any of this stuff, but I'm learning. And I'm just reasoning in my head, why in the world, if it's type 3 diabetes, can you eat fruit? It doesn't, to me, it didn't make sense. Where do I go now?
And what do we eat?
And what do we eat?
Yeah.
You know, and so I started learning about ketones, and I started learning about ketones from a woman by the name of Dr. Boz, and also other individuals. And I'm thinking, and I didn't know ketones. I said, And in my mind, I was an electrician in the Navy, and I knew electricity is trying to get to ground no matter what. If it has to go through, it wants to go through water if it can. If not that, it'll go through metal. If not metal, it'll go through wood. If not wood, it'll go through air. If it'll go through, it's going to go to ground.
Okay.
I'm thinking your brain needs something. It either needs glucose or it needs ketones. Well, how do I keep the ketones going to the brain and not the glucose? Well, the thing that made sense to me was, well, don't give your body any glucose. So the idea is cut out everything that's glucose. And that's when I got her family involved. So
Yeah.
my brother-in-law, Jodie's brother, distracted her, took him to the bedroom, played with cats, something. And my sister-in-law, I went to the pantry, which you can see it right behind us where the cross is.
Yes.
Big pantry. We got two 55-gallon garbage cans and threw everything away. All the pasta, flour, cornbread.
All of them.
We're Southerners. Cornbread is a staple of life, but we threw everything away. She didn't know about this. And then when she found out about it, tell them how you responded. Yeah.
To murder them. You can't take my cornmeal away. I can't have cornbread anymore. What's wrong with you people? No bread. I mean, it was awful.
Yeah.
We also threw away all the seed oils because I'd watched videos about how seed oils came about. And
Nice.
I didn't know, being a history teacher, I didn't know it came out of World War I. Did you know that?
Yes, I
It was
did.
originally machine oil.
Yes. That's what we're
And I was
cooking.
like,
All of
You
our
got to be
It's like-
kidding me.
Straight up poison. All that
Yes.
stuff. We had all that
Straight up
stuff in our
poison.
pantry.
And now, what do we eat now? And I'm thinking, well, if we're going to go keto, let's go ahead and go to Costco. And I bought 2 large freezers, and I bought every type of animal you can think of. If it was a fish, or if it was a pork, but once again, I'm new, but I don't know how to cook. When Jodie was really sick, I was trying to cook, and the one thing she remembers is how bad of a cook I was.
Terrible.
So anyway, we're buying all this stuff, and I'm thinking, well, we got to learn how to cook it. And so I started watching videos. Then I came across something called sous vide, and where you just put it in a pouch and you cook it 145 degrees, and out it comes. It's kind of grayish, but it's edible.
Yes.
And then I'm saying, but plastic's bad. So I looked up silicone. So now we got silicone sleeves. And you put them in there, and you don't have the leaching of that. Then we threw away all the plastic in our house, pretty much. We got rid of all the plastic cookware and dishes and stuff. Now it's all glass and metal, and we have wooden spatulas and stuff. And then I threw away all her pots and pans. And I got new pots and pans, cast iron and steel and things like that. Now we don't use a microwave anymore, but we bought something called Our Place toxic-free toaster oven. And now we cook everything in that. Then I saw a video about air purifiers, and there's a big study that came out about toxins in your home. So now we have air purifiers all throughout the house. I have 2 big ones in our bedroom, so we getting 100% clean air. And we're using bamboo toothbrushes and aluminum-free underarm stuff and everything else that we can think of. I had her mercury fillings taken out and replaced.
Wow.
And so I don't know what it is that gave Jodie Alzheimer's. And so I'm trying to cover all the bases. And there's an old Southern saying, you'll know this, throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. I don't know what it is that's sticking.
Yeah.
But the result of this, Jodie came back. She turned around. And while I'm so busy focusing on trying to learn more, she's getting better and better. One day she's over in a chair by the window, and I just looked up, and she's over there reading a book. And I hadn't seen her do that in a year and a half.
Oh.
And I said, Jodie, are you reading a book? And she looked at me like, well, of course. What do you think I'm doing? And I was stunned.
Kelly, I've forgotten how to read.
She couldn't read.
I couldn't read.
My gosh.
Couldn't write.
Yeah. I mean, if I tried to sign my name or something, you couldn't read it.
Mm-mm.
It was
Oh.
terrible.
Or she'd write something, and she'd start on one line of paper, and she'd go down to the next line and the third line by the time she finished it. And she was unaware that she was doing that. She didn't even know.
It was so terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I was not functional,
Yeah.
basically.
I looked in there in the kitchen. She was staring at a dish towel, and she was crying, and she looked up at me, and she said, I don't know how to fold a dish towel. It was just things like that. But now she does all the cooking, and which I'm so thankful for. She cooks all sorts, and just recently, thanks to Sally Norton. If you're listening, Sally, thank you. We're still, our last vegetable was tomato sauce. We were still using it because we like chili and make big pots of heavy meat chili.
Yeah.
And we found out, thanks to her talk, about nightshades and oxalates, and we didn't know about tomato sauce being that. And we're thinking inflammation is our enemy. So whatever causes inflammation, we got to get it out of there. So that is the latest thing
We
we got
just
rid of.
broke up with tomato sauce.
Yep, just broke up.
And that kind of broke my heart, but I'm like, if the nightshades and the lectins are so bad for me, then maybe that'll help the inflammation in my brain.
Yep.
Oh,
Maybe it'll
yes.
help the inflammation from my knee surgery from 2 years ago. That's the inflammation still hasn't gone away. Give it all up, all of it.
There are a lot of carnivores that if they have any meats, like let's say they go out and they order a meat and there's a little bit of tomato sauce on it, they get a reaction immediately. So listen,
Wow.
I've heard you got the air purifiers, you got rid of the mercury fillings, no more sugar, you got out the fluoride, the seed oils, the plastic, the microwave, you got all the junk out of the pantry. Tell me, where did the carnivore part come in? Talk carnivore to me.
I guess the carnivore started with Dave Mack. And we started at night. And now I'm learning about, by the way, circadian rhythms and blue light. That's the thank you, Ben Azadi.
Yes.
Another change on the way. So our cell phones are now getting taken out of the bedroom, and I've got 2 mechanical alarm clocks that are going in. And so
Excellent.
Ben, if you're hearing that you did this to us. And I got to find those weird glasses he wears. I don't know where to get those yet. But anyway, so we're watching Dave Mack, and we were watching video after video in bed before we would do our prayer time. And I was just seeing person after person after person being healed on this carnivore life thing. And I knew what carnivore was because about 15 years ago, I was so fat. I said, I want to lose weight. I've heard about this carnivore thing. So you being from the South, you'll understand. So I'm thinking, well, it's just meat. So I got as many Vienna sausages, potted meat, deli meat as I could get. And I'm thinking, meat. And I ate that for about 3 or 4 days, and I got sick as a rat. And I'm thinking, this is just garbage. This is awful. I'm not going to do this. I thought that's what carnivore was. And so then I started watching Dave Mack, and I started hearing what other people were eating, and it's fatty meat, fatty meat, fatty meat. And I was going like, okay, well, what's fatty meat? I didn't know what a prime rib was, because I know I get ribs and riblets and things like that, but prime rib,
Prime rib is delicious.
And then I was thinking, but I always cut the fat off of my meat and threw it away because I always just wanted the meat. You don't know what you don't know.
That's right. That's right.
And so now Jodie eats the prime rib. She eats the fat first.
Good.
And she takes butter and eats just a butter stick.
Good.
And she does.
And I'm a butter snob now. I bring organic butter when we go. I take my own little Pyrex dish.
I love that. Purse butter. Yeah.
Yeah, purse butter.
And then she eats the skin on the salmon now, and stuff like this, because that's where the nutrients are.
Yes.
There are some other guys we've met that have had a profound effect because we knew that does this stuff really work? Well, there's a guy named Hal Cranmer. He's a guy who owns nursing homes in Arizona, Paradise for Parents, and we've become really good friends with him. He has his patients at Paradise for Parents on carnivore, if he can get them to it, keto at a bare minimal, and they're doing all the things we're doing because we've added sauna, we've added hyperbaric chamber, we've added all these new things. We've got an exercise oxygen thing in a box filter. I got to unload it. We got weight rooms and stuff. All these changes that we are doing that should help Jodie quite a bit. Then Christmas came.
Yeah.
And you already know what's going to happen.
Off the wagon.
I went off the wagon more than you did.
Yeah.
And I gained 20 pounds back. At that point, I had lost 155 pounds in about 12 months. And I gained 20 back, but I'm now back on the wagon. Jodie's lost, I think, 80 pounds. Is that about right? Something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
And she's back down to the weight she was when we got married. I've got about another 110 pounds to go.
Okay.
And so, but I'll get there. And I've seen your pictures. You fascinate me because about 12 months ago, I saw a picture of you and you lost all that weight and your belly is tight as a drum. And I need to know, how did you do it?
Well, I'll tell you, if you're losing the loose skin, if you're tightening up that skin, it means you're having the autophagy, right? Autophagy.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the best signs they say that autophagy is occurring, as far as we can test, is if your glucose is low and your ketones are high, right? Y'all know Dr. Boz. She's all about low glucose, high ketones. Well, I get that on a high-fat carnivore diet. And I'll tell you, I've lost 130 pounds and I've birthed 3 kids in the process. I'm here to tell you, there was loose skin. You know what I mean? There was loose skin.
Yeah.
And now there's not. And I haven't had any procedures, but I also have not done any fasting. What I have done, I don't do any, I fast while I sleep. That's it.
Mhm.
I eat 3 meals every day.
Wow.
Yes, but because I eat really high fat carnivore, my
Yeah.
glucose stays low and my ketones stay up, and my brain feels woo. I mean, the higher the fat, the
See, that's
sharper I
fascinating.
See,
feel.
that's some things I eat. I tell Dean I feel crispy when I eat that. I
Yes.
mean, my brain feels really sharp and crispy when I eat certain things. So
Have
I'm
you
like,
tried have you tried sardines?
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up.
We just had a talk with Hal Kramer about that. He was telling
Yeah.
us which
So
ones to
he
get.
says
You need to
you need to eat mackerel and sardines.
Yeah.
So we've been eating sardines. I'm not a fan. She's learning to like them.
was eating smoked sardines and they were burning my tongue. I was getting like sores in my mouth and stuff. So I'm like, skip the smoke, just
Skip the
eat the
smoke.
sardines.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dr.
Okay.
Boz is a big fan of this also, which is
Yeah.
fat fasting. Now, what I would recommend people do, some people do it with dairy, but I'm a little nervous about the inflammatory aspect for your brain with dairy.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that you do it with beef fat trimmings. If you can go to the butcher,
Okay.
some
Yeah.
grocery stores will do it. Publix won't, but local
Yeah.
grocery stores, you just go and ask for the fat that they trim off of their steaks, their ribeyes, their New York strips. They'll sometimes give it, I mean, $1 a pound. It's
Mhm.
beautiful
Wow.
fat. I like to cut it into kind of bite-sized pieces and then either
Yeah.
air fry it or cook it in your cast iron skillet. That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Crisp it up. And then
Yeah.
just, called a fat fast because you have nothing but fat for the day. Now, I've done
Sounds great.
tons of fat fasting, but not water fasting. And it's a great substitute. Do you know who Dr. Ben Bickman is?
I'm afraid I don't.
Write that one down.
That's the one. That's the one to write down right now because he is the
Okay.
insulin guy and he is all about the type 3 diabetes being Alzheimer's.
Okay.
His favorite
That's
form
right.
of fasting used to be water fasting.
Uh-huh.
Then he got to where he enjoyed bone broth fasting because he said he got the same glucose, the same
She just finished
ketones.
the bone broth
I
fast.
did that yesterday.
How'd that
Yeah.
work? How'd that feel
The
for
fire
you?
and kettle. I didn't make my own bone broth. I just got, I realized I had a container of that in my pantry and I was like, that's what all I had to eat yesterday was bone
How'd you
broth.
feel mentally? How crispy?
Good.
Okay.
Good.
This is an example. I don't know if I told you this or not, but she was at the stove the other day, and I said, Jodie, I can't find my shoes. Did I tell you this?
No.
Okay. I said, Jodie, I can't find my shoes. She didn't turn around, and I'm on the other side of the room, and she said, go into the bedroom, turn right, turn left. They're under the table, and sure enough, that's exactly where they were. And I'm like, and it's and you got a husband. How many times does he ask you, where are my keys? Where are my wallet?
Yes.
Now I can do that again with my wife, and she knows the
Most of the
answers.
time I know where his stuff is. He
Yeah.
doesn't know.
That's good.
Yeah.
She's got her powers back. Our wifely powers have
does.
returned.
She does.
Yes. I love it. Dr. Bickman was real big on water fasting, and he's not anti-water fasting, but
Mhm.
he said he found that he was getting the exact same benefits when he did a bone broth fast. Now he is a researcher and a scientist, so he's done so much research, and he said throw a little
Yeah.
butter in your bone broth to give you some extra fat,
Yes.
get those ketones
I
higher.
did that.
Oh, good.
I put it in a metal saucepan,
Yes.
poured the broth in there, and then I stirred a half a stick of butter in it.
Oh,
It was
so
so
good.
Is that good? Is that the
oh,
right thing
it's
to do?
so
Yeah.
good for
Okay.
you. Yes.
Yeah.
So the next thing, and homemade might be even better because you're going to get all that
Yeah.
collagen and fat coming
Oh,
out of
yeah.
leaching out of the
Yeah.
bones.
Mhm.
All right.
Pressure.
Now his favorite form of fasting is fat fasting, pure fat. He says he can get better results, better glucose, better ketones, no hunger at all. Eat
Wow.
the fat. And I have used that tool many times through the years.
That sounds great.
I think it would be worth trying.
My brain is starving for the fat. I
Yes.
think
Yeah,
so.
that's the next step. I want to get as much fat into her as I can.
Yes.
I was watching a show called Clarkston Farms. The guy named Jeremy Clarkson, he used to be on a guy called Top Gear on the BBC. He went to a farm. He created a farm called Diddley Squat because he knows nothing about farming, and it's a fish out of water kind of thing. So he's trying to be a farmer and knows nothing about it, and it's got 3 or 4 seasons now, but one episode, and he's in England, and he has a fallout shelter made out of concrete. And he says, I think I can grow mushrooms in this thing, and we'll grow lion's mane. It's good for your brain. So I put that back in my brain, and I simply type in lion's being Alzheimer's one day. And sure enough, there was a joker in Japan who did a test. He's a scientist. He had 30 people, Alzheimer's, 15 got a placebo, 15 got lion's mane. The 15 lion's mane improved their cognitive scores drastically. The 15 of the placebo did not. He flipped it and the reverse happened. So Jodie's now on lion's mane. There's a woman named, and if you don't know her, you need to look her up. Her name is Eileen, and her podcast is called Strong, Wise, Good. And Eileen, she was running parallel to us. She was doing her thing. We're doing our thing. She's a teacher, or was early onset Alzheimer's, nearly the same age as Jodie. And we got to carnivore a little earlier than she did, but she doesn't take any supplements, no hyperbaric, no sauna. And she has also turned it around completely. And we talk to her every week, and she's as sharp as they get. And she's doing carnivore now.
Yes.
And she does a podcast. And so now we keep finding more and more people who have dementia, Alzheimer's, who are doing what we're doing. And so far, we haven't found anybody it hasn't worked. And that's not to say there aren't people who have tried it and it hasn't worked. I'm just saying there are some who it is working. And what we lost was hope. And this is why we're talking to you, is hope. Because I don't know if you've ever been in a place in your life where you have no hope. Mm-hmm. It is the worst feeling in the world. And what did Dante write above the gates of hell in his book? This is abandon hope, all ye who enter here. And that was above the gates of hell. And I'm thinking, it's like looking at the rich man and Lazarus. The rich man, he knows that there's no hope. And we were there because we assumed, and as when the two become one, when your spouse is dying, you're dying with them. Yeah. And that's where we were. And now we have hope. And it would be wrong for us to think that we have found something and not share it with others. We're private people. We don't want to be in the spotlight. We're not podcasters. But so we've come out of our comfort zone to share our lives with people so that hopefully there'll be somebody out there that will see this and they can help them. And,
yes.
And I'm getting these emails from everywhere of people, and many of the letters are heartbreaking. And I'm answering every one of them and saying, well, this is what I would do. Step one. And my goal is to eventually lead them to carnivore, because most times when I tell people and I give them the whole load, their eyes glaze over, or they run. And I guess they think we're going to hand them a tract and try to give them to our cult. You just incrementally just take them to perhaps keto first and say, if you want more, when you get here, come back to me and I'll tell you what to do next. Yeah. And that seems to be more palatable to people. Mm-hmm. But I do believe carnivore is the healthiest diet. And after Jodie is a big hiker, and she's determined to finish hiking the AT. She's done half of it. Uh-oh. And I've determined to only hike the width of it, all 3 feet. And so I'm just not a hiker, but she loves it.
There's a trail system in the Smokies. It's 900 miles of trail in that one park. And years ago, a bunch of friends and we all did that. It's like 900 miles. You get a special little badge.
I love it.
Put on your backpack.
Hey, I know we've been on here a while, but you've got to tell them the pepperoni, the pizza, and the little cupcake bite story, please.
Well, the Jodie, for our 36th wedding anniversary, she said, I want to have a cupcake for our wedding anniversary. And I'm thinking, carbs, sugar, but it's 36 years. Okay, I'm going to get her a cupcake. So I went to Food City and got her a cupcake, and it was white on white icing. And I said, I presented her, my beautiful bride, honey, here's your cupcake for our anniversary. And tell her what happened.
I took one bite of it, and then I just got green. It was so sweet. It made me confused. Oh. And I was like, I felt like I'd had liquor.
Wow.
And we don't drink, but we imagine if you did drink, that's what it would feel like.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm so sensitive to carbs now that if I eat a piece of bread and I haven't had like a big piece of meat before, I can have about that much of a roll. And if I have any more than that, I'll start getting confused. I'm so sensitive to bread. It's the carbs. It's terrible. So
yes.
Just before we went to Meat Stock, I thought I was doing a good thing. I went down to the local Amish Mennonite place and bought some summer sausage. It said grass fed, grass finished. I'm thinking I'm doing a good thing. So I brought it home and I cut a slice of it and gave it to Jodie. And she said, what's in this? And I said, what do you mean like that? And she said, what's in it? And so then we looked at the ingredients and it had all sorts of bad ingredients. And I didn't think, but it was tiny, tiny print. And I just I thought, typical husband, I thought
It's
I was doing a good thing,
dosage.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
I used to have a lot of mental fogginess before I started eating this way, and I was in my 20s. Hey, I have an assistant coach that works with me, Nanette, and she's in her 50s. And she said that prior to carnivore, she had moments in her car where she forgot literally how to drive. She had moments where she just literally it's
Wow.
like the black fuzziness was taking over.
Yeah. Yeah.
She started
Exactly.
carnivore. I'm here to tell you, this woman is sharp. But she
That's
said that there
awesome.
were times before where it was just everything got so foggy. She couldn't think through movements and activities.
When I was in the cardiology office, the last job I had, the fuzziness all the time was just really disturbing to me. Now, I'm sure part of it was sleep deprivation and just extreme stress, but we had vendors coming and bringing food all the time.
Yes.
Not good fat food, but like, carb things and all that. And I never put together. I always knew I was tired after I ate. And I
Olive
tried not
Garden
to
and
eat
things like
that
that.
much. I mean, they brought, restaurant food all the time in, and
Yeah.
they did that at both cardiology offices I worked at and the family practice I worked at. We had vendors coming in all the time because they want to get you to, subscribe to their whatever products they had, the pills and inhalers and all this junk.
I watched many of your podcasts, and I wanted to tell you about something about you because you come across as just the nicest person, and you come across as just a regular person.
Yes.
But a lot of times you wonder, are they really like that in person? And then I got to meet you at Meat Stock, and I'm going to say you're not like you are on the screen. You're better. You're nicer. You're almost like the friend you haven't met, the long lost
Oh,
friend that you haven't met yet, and you're just so personable and so welcoming. You didn't know us from Adam, and you were just sit there and you didn't know if we were some type of weirdos or whatnot, but you gave us the time of day, and you were just so kind and so sweet. And it could be because of your mama raised you right, or because you're a Southern girl, or it could be just because you're a wonderful human. But either way,
Or Jesus.
it could be
that's it.
Jesus too.
That's it.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, or it could be a combination of all of them, but you are the nicest person. And I hope the people that see your podcast, they realize what a blessing you are to the world. And thank you for what you do. We're Team Kelly now.
Oh,
And so I don't know if you have a secret handshake or something, but put us up, sign us up, okay?
I love you guys so much. When I met you, I figured out pretty quickly that we both love meat, we both love Jesus, and we
Yep.
all really want to help people to feel better and to
Yes.
not have this this hopeless fate that was thrown at you, and to find something that can bring people out of it. I have watched people I very much love succumb to this. And to know that it's awful, to know that you got your spouse back. And I was just shocked when you first were saying, and, my wife was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and she wasn't able to do this and this. I'll tell you the truth, Dean. I was looking at this beautiful, sharp woman next to you thinking, well, is this the second wife? What happened? And I thought, oh my word, he's talking about her.
Yeah.
Amazing. So,
When we were doing our prayer time today, it's when the two become one and you begin to lose it, it's like you have to take a position of almost not like parent child, but you lose that partnership.
yes.
And now when we're doing prayer time, it's so we're in so sync again, and she's back. They say you don't really appreciate something till you almost lose it.
Yes.
And I came so close to losing her, and I don't think I fully appreciated my wife until that happened. And now every day is a joyful day.
For any of you listening at home, whether you have struggled yourself with feeling some brain fog settle in, or you're like me and you have watched people you love just lose themselves to this awful disease, and you just want to protect your brain, I hope to heavens exactly what Dean and Jodie hope is that they can give you something to try to do to save yourself. What have they done? Oh, the list. What have they not done? Well, first of all, please take note that they started with prayer. They do not underestimate that. One of their hesitancies about coming on to Just Talk Carnivores, they said, we want to make sure to acknowledge Carnivore and the Lord. I said, well, you're in the right place. So praise him. The other things they have done: sauna, hyperbaric chamber, weight training, hiking, exercise, blue blockers. They're going to work on the blue blockers, right? At least turning phone screens. Did y'all know that when you turn your phone screen on, you can set it so that 1, 2, 3 clicks and it turns it red so that it helps prevent all that blue light. It's helpful.
Yeah.
Put on some blue blockers, turn it to red, or turn them off. I guess that's probably an option that I don't usually use. Getting more sleep. They do OMAD. They've purified the air, removed the mercury, the fluoride, the sugar, the seed oils, the plastics, got rid of the junk, stocked up on meat, trying lion's mane, collagen, creatine. They've done it all. But you heard the lady. When she adds back even a little carbs, the darkness starts to come back in. Our brains need fat. Our bodies need fat and protein. What it doesn't need is the glucose being constantly put in our system, causing our insulin to rise. Insulin resistance sets in. And then what happens is the part of our brain, the hypothalamus, that we desperately need for our speaking, our thinking, our function, the hypothalamus no longer can get the energy that it needs. And I have heard Dr. Ben Bickman say that even when the hypothalamus cannot draw up and utilize glucose, and this was even in cadavers that they went back and looked at, that they could still pull and use ketones. Our brains thrive on ketones. And these two went from feeling hopeless and being told that they could not reverse it to now she's back, right? So we just want to give you all hope. I will add all of the links to some things that have been helpful to them and to the resources that I mentioned here today. It isn't hopeless. Our God is a God of hope, and he has provided us with ways to learn, with meat to nourish ourselves, and he can use them in very powerful ways. So if you need more help on how to get started, come find me. I'm here. The link is below. And if you get enough from just coming here on Saturday mornings, I appreciate you. Say hi to me in the comments. Please thank Dean and Jodie for coming out today. It takes a lot of guts to put yourself out there like this, and I'm so grateful that they did. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Jodie. Bye.
Kelly.
All right, let's close it out in prayer, shall we?
Yes.
Can I pray for you?
Oh, I would love that. Thank you.
Father, I want to thank you for Kelly and giving her this ministry. I ask you to continue her with good health. Bless her family. Bless her home. Lord, give her opportunities to spread this message about how you've made our bodies and how we can heal naturally. Lord, thank you for her wonderful mind, for her mission. Lord, she's just an amazing vessel, but I know, Lord, that she only is a reflection of you, and we give all praise and glory to you, and that we are all part of the body of Christ, and we get to spend eternity in heaven and talk about you, and also just to, Lord, thank you for everything you've done in our lives. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Oh, Joey.
Thank you so much, Dean. Thank you.